Okay, so here we go in preparation for our twist perm. I'll section off the hair. I'll start in the back at the nape area. And here I'm going for a decent amount of root lift. So my first angle is a quite high acute angle. And I'll increase my elevation with each section. So when we're perming hair, we have to make sure that the shape that we perm into the hair actually fits the cut that we will be doing after, or the cut if you do the cut first. Make sure the angles of elevation match the angles of the level that the hair was cut at. Okay, so for the perm, I'm just working with clean sections. I'll roll everything in, make sure you have no fish hooks, and I'll continue working in the same manner, increasing my elevation. So I'll wrap the paper, hit it with spray, line up my perm rod, and then just twist it all the way in. Now, as I reach above the occipital bone area, I'll be throwing in an extra twist in there. That will give me an extra amount of curl, thus the name twist perm. But I'll be twisting from the occipital bone above and accordingly. Okay, and the way I see a perm, the mechanics of the perm, like what we actually do with our hands, the technical work, it's not brain surgery. We just have to, like here, have a clear intention of the amount of root lift that you're going after. And then remember, with this technique, I'll be incorporating that twist. So just hit the moisture with paper, and I start hitting twists. The amount of twist that you can throw in is optional. Just remember, every time you do a 360 twist, you will get a lot more curl. Okay, so my elevation through the right side is much higher, and then through here I'm starting to twist more. So I need to make sure again that the amount of elevation fits the elevation for the cut. So as you wrap, twist, each time you throw in that twist, you put another curl in there. So kind of think of it as working with a bigger rod, but then you have the ability to get a tighter curl, the tightness that you would have gotten if you were to use a smaller rod. So again, you can go this more like that less is more rule, 80-20. And I have to remember, for this haircut, I start to build a lot of weight around the occipital bone and the parietal area. So for there, I don't want the shape to fall too heavy. So that's why from like the parietal and the occipital bone above, I'm throwing in more twists. The more twist with the wrap twist, that technique, it'll make that area curlier. When that area is curlier, I get more of a three-dimensional effect. And as that curl falls naturally, it will fall softer. And I'm working at like the sections that I'm taking to the top, they're a bit larger than the actual perm rod, and I can get away with this because again, I can balance out that curl by throwing in the twist. So again, I like that 80-20 rule, less is more. I can use less sections, but we achieve a result that looks technically like I use a lot more sections and a smaller perm rod. Through the front, I'm over directing because when I cut the top area, it's over directed forward strongly. So again, I have to make sure that the shape that I perm will fit the shape that I cut. If my elevation was low and my haircut, my elevation was higher, because I actually build in root lift at the crown area and at the root area, So if I go for a lower root lift, but I actually cut it technically for a higher root lift, the two shapes don't fit. So again, you have to make sure that the shape that you're putting into the hair matches the shape that you're cutting the hair. Ideally, you could do the exact same section and over direction and elevation technique for your perm rods. To the sides, I'm just using triangular sections. I'll play with my over direction it'll give me a lot more natural movement. Remember, for the cut, I'll be over directing the front portion forward very strongly, so the angle that I wrap my perm rod in is over directed strongly. So again, it'll match the shape that I cut. And make sure you're using consistent tension and moisture throughout your wrapping. It's easier to control the hair when it's moist and you have a saturation and that's thorough. So again, playing with different over directions. I'm working with triangle sections, so I'll over direct slightly with the triangle sections, but I don't have two triangle sections matching up at the same angle. So that'll encourage a lot more internal movement. Okay, so our wrapping section is about tied up. So again, over direction, add in my twists. So in preparation for the finish, I'll use gloss mousse. I just want everything to be fresh. I don't want the hair to look dried out or lackluster, so use a significant amount of product just to keep the curl together. And when I use a diffuser, I don't like using my hands too much. I'll use the hands to give me some root lift, and I'll just go in there. I'll move the diffuser around more so than I use my actual hands. Just when I diffuse the hair, I'm looking at shades, I'm looking at tones, because when you start off, the hair is darker, it's wetter. Once you get like a consistent tone or level or depth going on, that's a good indicator that that area is dry. And with diffusing it, make sure that you're not over drying hair, because when you over dry curly hair, it has a tendency to go really frizzy on you. And there we have it, our twist perm. Enjoy.